Hey everyone, Yoyston here, and I hope you all are doing well, wherever you are in Middle-earth. Here is important information from the Years of the Lamps and Trees in under 5 minutes. To keep this short, my intro and outro will both be quite reduced. Links are in the description and cards for a more complete telling of the history. Thanks for joining me, let's begin our tale. After the music of the Ainur, some of whom became Valar and Maiar, gods and lesser angelic beings, came down to the world of Arda after the basis of it was created through the music and Eru, or the god above all others, when he sent the flame imperishable true life into the universe of Ea. The Valar were sent to make the world ready for the children of Iluvatar. The Years of the Lamps were the first many centuries of Arda's existence, as the Valar came down into the earth and shaped it. At the beginning of time, when years were measured differently than they are today, the main three Valar, Manwë of wind, Ulmo of water, and Aule of rock and metal, were the most important in the creation of the atmosphere, seas, and lands. Yet Melkor, most powerful amongst the Ainur, greater than any other Vala upon the world, made their work difficult at every turn, attempting to take the world as his own kingdom, and thereby causing strife between him and the other Valar. Thus imperfections were made upon the world of Arda, and it would be marred by Melkor, the first Dark Lord. Melkor fled from the Vala Tulkas, but he would eventually take an opportunity in the dormancy of the Valar to build his first stronghold of Autumno behind the Iron Mountains he raised, and thus Melkor went on to destroy the two lamps with his evil. The world would be ever scarred by Melkor's corruption, breaking what was a rather symmetrical connected landscape into multiple different continents spread across Arda. The Valar fled to the west, coming to the land of Valinor, and they would settle there, even as Melkor's darkness spread over the lands of Middle-earth. As the beginning of these new years without the lamps went on, Yavanna of nature grew the two trees of Valinor, Laurelin the golden and Telperion the silver, thus beginning the years of the trees, still during the Valian years before the sun and moon. Varda, wife of Manwë, fashioned the stars, and at some point, Melkor fashioned another fortress, Angband, overseen by his servant, the Maya named Sauron. And Melkor's Balrogs would dwell in Autumno and Angband, even as Middle-earth geography continued to be changed by the actions of the Valar and Melkor. Eventually, the god Aule would create the dwarves, whom Iluvatar adopted as his children and put to sleep until after the awakening of the elves. In response to this, Aule's wife Yavanna prayed for the creation of the Ents to protect the forests from the axes of the dwarves. And eventually, the great eagles of Manwë would be created as well. The elves, firstborn children of Eru, awoke in eastern Middle-earth, and Melkor would find and corrupt some of them, perverting them into orcs. Orome, the hunter of the Valar, would find the elves and report back to the Valar, who went forth and razed Melkor's fortresses, taking him prisoner. They would invite the elves to come live with them in Valinor, and some would accept becoming the High or Light Elves, while others stayed in Middle-earth, becoming the Dark Elves. The dwarves would also awaken and work and trade with the elves as they built their mountain homes. A mighty elf amongst the High Elves, Feanor, harnessed the light of the two trees, creating the Silmarils amongst other great works. Due to mercy, Melkor was eventually released by the Valar, and he coveted the Silmarils and wished to bring harm to the elves. Thus he spread lies amongst them, found an alliance with the spider Ungoliant, destroyed the two trees of Valinor, took the Silmarils, and slew Feanor's father, the High King Finwë. After betraying Ungoliant, Melkor returned to Middle-earth and his fortress of Angband to make war upon the children of Iluvatar. Led by Feanor, king of the Noldor, who took an oath to reclaim his Silmarils with his sons, many Noldor would leave Valinor in exile, seeking vengeance against Melkor, whom they named Morgoth. Through different routes, Feanor and his half-brother Fingolfin and their followings would come to Middle-earth, the former through kinslaying and the latter by an icy, northern, harsh road. By leaving Valinor, a doom came upon the Noldor to see their works in Middle-earth come to ruin. The first battles of Middle-earth against Morgoth would take place in Beleriand, western Middle-earth. The first would see Thingol, lord of the Sindar, and his forces against Morgoth, and the second would see the death of Feanor by the hands of Balrogs after their arrival. Finally, the Noldor host of Fingolfin made its way to Beleriand with the first rising of the moon and sun thereafter, created by Valar and flown by Maiar in the skies, starting the First Age. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit that like button, let me know your thoughts, and thank you to our Valar tier patrons on the screen and in the comments below. Check out the links in the description to support the channel. Thanks so much. Please subscribe, and I'll see you all again next week with a theory on what if Numenor became faithful again. And thank you all so much for joining me on this adventure. Until the next one.